Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Breeders' Cup Prep Recap. This will be for the juvenile division because we're going to take a look at the Grade 1 American Pharoah at Santa Anita featuring a Bob Baffert trained 2-year-old that's pretty good. Let's watch Citizen Bull. He goes right to the lead in here. The other Baffert trained runner, Getaway Car, from the outside was expected to show some speed. He backs off a little bit and Citizen Bull makes hay.
Yeah, maybe that's the real takeaway here, Dan, because Getaway Car, horse who had shown real good speed sprinting in his first three starts, and he broke fine in here. Felt like he could have made the lead if he wanted to, but they were just intent on rating him in this race, letting their stablemate go to the lead here, and now they could never catch him.
This is Citizen Bull's first start around 2 turns, and he seems to be relaxing just fine. Nice, easy opening quarter mile for Getaway Car, for Citizen Bull. Getaway Car on the outside, Mike, I think coming into this race had a lot of questions to answer regarding distance and class. He runs well. His stablemate was just better than he was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, once they conceded the early lead to the stablemate here, kind of sealed their own fate, I guess. And you're right, though, Dan. He had something to prove over a distance of ground, even though he's a colt by Curlin. They concede the lead here. They're in a great position all the way until the far turn of this race. And the things are really going to start picking up, Dan. All he can do is chase from there, and he never cuts into the margin.
Mackenzie Street was coming into this race in really good form for trainer Tim Yachtine, and he seems like he's in a comfortable pocket position right now. Now they're starting to sprint for home, and for a brief second, it looks like he was a bit shell-shocked. He will recover and finish third, but he's no match for the top two.
Yeah, he never really could keep up with these horses for the last, 5/16 or 3/8 of a mile here, Dan. Another horse, so I felt when I went back and watched the replay, the early part of this race, he broke very well from the rail. Certainly could have been ridden more aggressively, rushed up the inside to be involved here, but they didn't want to do that. They sat in behind, and once they really started going for home around that final turn, he just couldn't keep up.
Getaway Car tried hard. Citizen Bull swapped back to his left lead, but he held sway to score. It was a solid effort for Citizen Bull. Again, only his third lifetime start, his first race around 2 turns. He earned a career best 89 Beyer speed figure. He might not be the most exciting Baffert 2-year-old I've ever seen, but he's done it going 2 turns at the Breeders' Cup juvenile distance, and he seems to have some upside still.
Yeah, I agree with that. The other thing that I just really appreciate about him, Dan, especially when you go back and look at his first two career starts. I mean, he broke his maiden first time, not going 5.5, and he didn't look like a horse who really relished that shorter distance. It seems like he just won that on talent alone. He made his next start in the Grade 1 Futurity and finished third. He really moved forward in this race. He seems like a horse who's getting better as they throw more distance at him.
Getaway Car tried his best. He was second best all the way around the track. If they decide to go to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, the waters are just going to get a lot deeper, and I'm still not convinced that 1.1 miles is his optimal distance.
Yeah, I'm worried about that with him too. I actually really liked his first two career starts. Didn't like his Del Mar Futurity quite as much, although he got hooked in that race. And listen, I didn't love the way they rode him here, Dan. I still would have expected him to make this a little bit more of a horse race, and he just couldn't do it.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Mackenzie Street's a little bit better than what he showed in this race, but I needed to see a little bit more if I was going to back him in the race like the Breeders' Cup. I do wonder about distance for him, if he's going to be sort of a mid-pack or late-running one-turn horse down the road.
I feel that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, just going through his pedigree, it kind of feels like more distance isn't really going to serve this horse that well. Although I like the McKenzie's going longer. On the dam side, I'm really worried about this horse the longer they go with him. I do think he's pretty talented, and I kind of hated the ride he got here.
Emerald Bay raced wide in a race where they basically ran 1, 2, 3 around the track. I think it's possible that we'll see a little bit more out of this guy down the road. But as for now, he's a horse that's still developing. Maybe next year.
Yeah, he's going to have to, if they're going to press on with him this year. I don't know that Baffert will, but if they do, he's going to have to really up his game. He was on the outside all the way in here, but he was also never a factor.
Let's take a closer look at Citizen Bull, a $675,000 yearling by champion sire Into Mischief from a very strong family. The dam is a half-sister to a Grade 1 stakes winner going long at 2, named Moonshine Memories. This is the female family of Favorite Trick, who was named Horse of the Year as a 2-year-old after going unbeaten that year, including a win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Like this horse's tactical speed, Mike, how does he stack up with the horses on the East Coast? Those horses have been a little bit more visually impressive, I think.
Yeah, well, they certainly have. But this is a horse who feels. I mean, I just feel like he's coming into this the right way. Baffert, you usually expect brilliance from his really good ones. That's not Citizen Bull, but the more distance they throw at him, the better this horse gets. They threw him right on the lead in this race, but they don't have to ride him that way. This horse is pretty interesting going forward.
Citizen Bull was the third choice in the Grade 1 American Pharoah. As we take a look at the prices, he gets it done to complete the Baffert Exacta. $860 to win. Getaway Car second. McKinsey Street third. Citizen Bull going to get a test in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he certainly is trained by the right guy.